Going into the 2023 IPL mini auction, RCB can say one thing about their squad that they haven't been able to say for a really long time. It is that it bears a very settled look. That hasn't really been the case with RCB, because despite the fact that they've had a star-studded playing 11 and in fact squad more often than not, they have been one of those teams that has been prone to making chops and changes beyond a few core players who do seem to make it year after year more often than not. But however, that isn't really the case this time around. If you look at their squad, they actually have already got a roster of 18 players, and with only 25 being the maximum squad limit allowed, they actually are pretty set as far as their squad is concerned. The fact that they didn't release too many players means that they won't be going into this particular auction with too much cash. But the good thing, of course, is that they don't really need to spend big on too many players. So let's actually take a quick look at the numbers surrounding RCB and what it is that they can spend, and more importantly, who it is that they can target. Now again, if you look at this list here, you'd see that they'd released 6 players, but that's not true. Jason Behrendorff wasn't entirely released as much as he was traded to the Mumbai Indians. But that of course means that along with Behrendorff, who's now left, Anishwar Gautam, Chama Millen, Loveneet Sisodia and Sherfane Rutherford are the players who have been released from the RCB. Whereas, and that means that they are now left with rupees 8.75 crores to spend in this particular edition of the IPL auction. Now, of course, this means that they'll have to fill these 7 slots. And again, remember that you don't have to fill all 7. At most, you could make do with a team of 22 or even 19 to 20 players if you so deem it necessary, because more often than not, in the IPL, you don't really see a lot of teams tinker with a winning combination unless absolutely necessary. So, from these 7 slots, who are the players it is that they can target? We've picked out 5, and the first name I have is Reece Topley. Now, why do I have Reece Topley's name? Because again, with no Sherfane Rutherford and no Jason Behrendorff, they will be requiring another foreign pacer to back up someone like Josh Hazelwood. Topley is someone who has proven his worth in T20 cricket. In fact, you remember he was very good for England in the tour, during India's tour over there, and he probably would have been a guaranteed starter for England in their T20I World Cup winning squad if he hadn't gotten injured ahead of the tournament. Sticking to that, another target for them potentially, if they're so pleased, would be Kyle Jamieson. Now I know what you're thinking. Jamieson really hasn't been playing that much cricket, but he has put his name up for this auction, and he is someone who has ties to the Bangalore franchise. Remember, he was picked up by them a few years prior for some pretty big money. Of course, he was released thereafter and has been plagued with fitness issues, but on his day, he's the kind of bowler who can swing a match your way. So wouldn't be too much of a surprise if they went for Jamieson, and this time actually get him for a significantly smaller sum than they did so previously. Narayan Jagadisan, why have I mentioned him? Well, it's because they need someone who can both keep wickets and is also a good middle order batsman. Jagdishan has done a very good job in domestic cricket in that regard. In fact, you remember he was doing very well both in the Syed Mushtaq Ali as well as the Vijay Hazare Trophy for Tamil Nadu. So he could be someone who RCB target, although of course given the way he's performed, would be someone who might end up getting a pretty big fee from whichever side it is chooses to invest in him. So if they want a slightly cheaper option, there is someone like Dinesh Bana, like their incumbent wicket-keeping choice, Dinesh Karthik, and namesake of Bana, of course, will also play a similar role. He can, in fact, be a finisher lower down the order. He keeps wickets well, and they do need to look at someone for a long-term wicket-keeping option, because there's no guarantee that DK will have the kind of season he did in 2022 for too long. Remember, age is definitely not on his side, so they will have to be careful when it comes to planning or making a succession plan, and Bana is someone who they can build their team around. Sikandar Raza might seem like a bit of an outside their choice for RCB, but the reason I picked him here is because they don't really know about the availability of Glenn Maxwell. Now remember, Maxwell had a freak leg injury, and that has in fact it's ruled him out for an indefinite period. There's no surety yet as to whether or not he'll be fit for the IPL. So if he isn't, it wouldn't really hurt Bangalore to have someone of Raza's caliber in their squad as well. Remember, he fulfills more or less the same role, can bat in the middle order or lower down, and can get you 4 good overs with his bowling. That does remind you a lot of the way Sunil Narayan bowls, but that's for a different time altogether. So when you're looking at, these are the 5 players, you're looking at the squad, these seem to be the 5 players who they're likely to target. Of course, if you go through the entire auction pool of players who they can target, particularly from the bigger price brackets, a lot of these players here, they may or may not be able to target, because again, they only have 8.75 crores. So unless they pick up a couple of players here only on base price, then and only then would it make sense for them to target a lot of these players. So unless they want to do that, a lot of these players seem to be out of bounds. And truth be told, a lot of these players fulfill roles where they are pretty well stacked anyway. We look at even the 1.5 crores, maybe someone like a Riley Meredith or Jai Richardson would pique their interest, but again, only if at base price and maybe in the second round of auctions after going unsold in the first round. Beyond that, maybe someone like a Jason Roy to fill in for Faf du Plessis if needed, but again, Roy's form recently hasn't been that great and would only make sense on base price. Beyond that, in the 1 crore, they could look at someone like Mayank Agarwal, but again, Mayank is one of the few Indian capped players who's really expected to actually cause a few franchises to look to spend some extra money. So this one seems a bit unlikely. Kedar Jadhav, remember, has been associated with the RCB in the past. Whether or not they go for him again, though, remains to be seen. Manish Pandey, another one who is a local lad, could work well in the middle order option if they so get him. In fact, even for base price, would be a very good value for money buy for them. Beyond that, there aren't too many players who they might want to look. Again, in the 50 crore bracket, a lot of big names here, but again, a lot of these are names who their roles are pretty well fulfilled. Same can be said about even the 50 lakhs here. Again, 40 lakhs. Again, there's not too many players here who a lot of teams will be going for. Maybe a Shivam Mavi, but do RCB really need more pacers at this time? Probably not. So as far as this particular team is concerned, as I said, they bear a very settled look. So it wouldn't surprise me if RCB maybe only went in for 4, at most 5 players, and in fact fill their squad more with players who are uncapped, so that they can actually fill their squad and not spend too much of that purse. But that's just how I feel about it. What do you guys think? Well, you can let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and of course tap the bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Then you can also go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and don't forget to download the SportsTech app for all the latest updates and analysis from the world of the IPL auction and beyond. Don't forget to join us tomorrow on Sports Today as we bring you all of the latest coverage from the auction. I hope to see you there tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us. For now, goodbye.